and welcome to our JCPS Virtual Learning Day on jcpsdigitallearning.com. We are so glad to have you today, and we are super excited about our lineup this morning and this afternoon. First up today, we have Karen, and she is visiting us here from Nearpod. So we cannot wait to learn from her this morning. Hey, Karen, how are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing great, thanks. Good to be here.
Yes, we are excited about our district license for Nearpod. So all of our teachers and students here in JCPS have that. So if you want, you can go ahead and share your screen and get started.
All right. Okay, make sure. All right, can you see my screen? Did I do that right? Oh, I know what I'm doing. Here we go. There. All right, so I'm excited to talk with everyone this morning about Nearpod. It's going to be a crash course of Nearpod thoughts and ideas in a short amount of time. But if you'd like to join the Nearpod, I'm going to be showing it on my screen, but you can join. There's lots of interactive activities for you to participate in. And the code is right here on the screen, DHMEI. So DHMEI, just go to nearpod.com and enter that in. And you will end up being able to sign in as a student. I'm going to do that as a student as well so that you can see both of my screens easily so you know exactly as a teacher what would be going on. There we go. All right, so the code again is DHMEI. And I'm going to go ahead and get started. Perfect. Thank you so much. That's perfect. So we're excited at Nearpod this month. And I want to start out just getting a sense of who's here with me today. So this first activity is a collaborate board. And what you can do is type your thoughts right there in the box and post them. One of the things that Nearpod really wants to do for you is be all kinds of tools all in one place. So the Collaborate board is an excellent way to give students an activity as they're entering the classroom. That way, as people settle in, you can start to get answers. But if you're coming into the room, let us know. Who are you? Where are you? What do you teach? And if you have any burning questions for me about Nearpod, be sure to put those in the chat so that, or put those on your sticky note so that I can address them. A couple of things you'll want to notice as you're getting settled. When you are using Nearpod as a student, one of the great things that you can do is access the notes feature, which allows students to save your presentation to either their email or their drive. So all a student has to do is click on the little notes icon, and that gives them the opportunity to save it so that all of the slides that in your presentation become theirs, and they can take notes as they go. So I'm going to save this to my drive. I don't know if it's going to be, but so that's something. Be sure you save your notes if you like. That way you'll have access to this presentation. I'm going to go ahead and move ahead because of short time. But as you are working today, give me a sense of what do you know about Nearpod? This is a poll question. Polls are an easy way, again, to gather some quick formative data. One of the best things about polls is it gives everybody's voice a chance to be heard. I can hide everybody's names so you don't actually, so students as you're presenting don't actually see what's going on. And you may be wondering, hey, wait a minute, do I really want my students to see the teacher view? And the nice thing is you don't even have to log in as a student. That's a possibility, but there is a little switch to student view tab. So I can easily see and display what it looks like if you're a student. Maybe if I've got new users to Nearpod and I want to do some annotation or throw in a quick activity, those two things are very easy to do as well. So it's super flexible. Looks like we've got a couple responses that are brand new to Nearpod. That's awesome. All right, I'm going to move on here. As I said, there are so many things that you could be using when you're creating a lesson, and we know that that is a challenge. So what Nearpod is really trying to do is streamline everything into one platform. So if you need your slides to be interactive, that's in Nearpod. If you need to import a video and want to add questions or discussion prompts, you can do that in Nearpod. Collaboration boards, gamification, our time to climb is an awesome way to get kids excited and involved in a game. There are virtual reality simulations, all kinds of formative assessments from polls and open-ended questions to quizzes. There are tons of standards-aligned lessons. There's the ability to annotate with a whiteboard and the ability for students to create their own. So whatever you're trying to do, you can do it all in Nearpod. And one of the things we're really trying to offer is multiple points of entry. So whether you want to grab a fully baked lesson off the shelf that matches your curriculum and launch that, or want to take an existing lesson and tweak it a little bit to better match or to involve students in the ways you like, or to get assessment data that you need. Or if you just want to start with one quick activity, maybe your exit slip is a quick 2-question quiz or an open-ended question, you can launch just one activity and get students in to do that right away. This slide links to 3 tips for using the Nearpod lesson library because there is tons of content in there. And this also gives you some tips on how to search the lesson library. And in JCPS, you have the regular Nearpod library, which has over 8,500 activity lessons and videos. But you also have the Digital Literacy and Citizenship collection, which has many lessons targeted specifically to digital citizenship. So that link will take you to the scope and sequence to show you all of the lessons around digital literacy or digital citizenship and literacy. This next slide has a video to explain that searching in the lesson library. As a teacher, when you're presenting, you have the option of having a video play on every student device, and that way you turn off your sound, let students watch it on their own, or on this device only. I'm going to pick this device only and skip ahead since we're limited on time, but it's very easy to play a video in Nearpod and put interactive questions in, make stopping points for discussion. It's an awesome way to engage learners. One way to think about using your Nearpod is start with the activity at the beginning. So maybe the first thing you do is involve students in a time to climb to get them excited, tease them about some of the content, see if there are things they do know or big gaps in understanding, or start out with a draw it or have them complete a matching pairs. Lots of ways to start with an activity and then keep going. So here are just a few ideas for ways you might integrate Nearpod in your classroom. It's easy with a draw it slide, which is something you can quickly convert any slide into, to annotate a piece of literature or a primary source document, do a quick poll, use entry and exit slips, whether it's with a collaborate board, an open-ended question, a way to check for understanding. You can have students create their own Nearpods, which is an excellent way for students to show what they've learned. Share students' responses as they're working. So as you're actually watching students complete their draw-its, you can share one of those draw-its and have that student articulate for his classmates his thinking around how he solved a problem, or explain to you what he was understanding or maybe misunderstanding. There are over 300 different places to go virtually with our virtual reality. No extra tools needed. You can easily add a virtual reality location into your lesson. Nearpod gives an awesome way to promote equity because every student has a chance to respond. And with our feature that is new this year, which is the ability to go from a live lesson to an individually student-paced lesson, you can slow down and give those students who need more time the time they need so their voices can also be heard. Also, one of the most exciting features of Nearpod is the ability to share your lessons. You can share lessons into the school or through your district administrators into the district library. So as you create content that will be relevant to others who teach your grade level or your subject area, share those lessons, share the Nearpod love so that people aren't reinventing the wheel. And there are, as I mentioned, many, many interesting and relevant lessons available. I picked out this one just because I know so many students are up to their eyeballs in TikTok. I have a college student who is a big TikTok person, and there are lots of downsides and some upsides to TikTok. But this lesson goes through the challenges that are being thrown.
Oh, sorry, Karen. I really like that because that's student engagement, right? It's very important for our students or for the teacher to have activities just like this. So this is a great example.
Yes, absolutely. So I'd love to take a minute and see what ideas you might have. If you've heard some ideas or if this has sparked any ideas. One thing I want to point out with the Collaborate board, when you have students, you can always turn on the option to approve their comments before they're posted. I'm not going to do that because I trust you as adults, but I'll give you just a minute or so to create a slide, type in your ideas. What are some ways that you might use Nearpod or that you have used Nearpod? And if you haven't seen before, you can actually search the picture library as well and add an image for what you're doing. And again, I have student names hidden, but I could show them if you wanted to. I think that's one of the great flexible features of Nearpod. And I can like these posts, so capturing their attention. I love that, getting them engaged. Formative assessment, absolutely. I love the yes. These are great. Feedback from your students, engagement during math, absolutely. Awesome ideas. All right, so I am going to give you the opportunity to try the student paced mode. I've put in 3 slides that I would like you to and I'm just going to give you a couple seconds, so you probably won't have time to complete them all. But this starts with a sway, which is a Microsoft feature. It's kind of a cool way to present content, and there is a whole library of sway activities. And then there is a matching pairs and a draw activity. So I'm going to turn those on. And this means now that you can move through those lessons. So I'm no longer controlling the pace of the slides, and nothing will happen until I bring us all back together through live. And I'll show you from a student perspective what that's looking like. So you can see here's my student screen. And if you scroll down, the sways are really cool. They're sort of morphy content, but I picked one about Italy because Italy is one of my favorite places. So they're just some cool facts about Italy. I'll be quiet for just 30 seconds or so to give you a chance to look through and try the student activities on your own. And if I flip back to my teacher mode, as students are working on their drawing of what the most interesting thing they learned was, I can actually see all of those drawings in real time. So I can tell exactly what's going on. Another feature that is, I think, really powerful is in the student view, and this is something that you'll enable from your dashboard. Students have the ability to turn on or to use Immersive Reader. And this is an integration with Microsoft's Immersive Reader. And this allows students to have slides that are created in Nearpod read to them. So if I enable Immersive Reader here, I can click on the play button to hear it read to me.
What was the most interesting thing you learned about Italy?
But there are a lot of other things I can do, including changing the language. So if you're working with language learners and you would like them to be able to translate it, they can translate it into their language. You can have it zoom in line by line, word by word. There are grammar options. You can identify the nouns and the verbs. You can change the size of the text. So if you're working with students with different needs, the Immersive Reader feature, I think, offers a lot of flexibility, especially when you think about going into the student-paced mode where you're having students work individually, that adds some ways to differentiate the same content, but make it more appropriate for different students. All right, so several of you have submitted, thank you. And I can share a student's submission. So again, if I wanted to ask this particular student to explain their thinking or to talk out loud, I could have them do that. And I could go through all of them that way. And then with the matching pairs, I can see who's paired them and how many attempts they made in doing them. I can go back and show the pairs if I want to, so you can see what the task is. All right, so I am going to turn off student-paced mode, which is going to kick you back to the main presentation. Now the student-paced mode is off, and I am back in charge of controlling the slides. So again, very flexible way to use a Nearpod lesson to kind of thread all of your teaching from start to end. Start with a whole group activity, get everybody involved, present the content, send students off to work, and in those activities that you could have them do, there are so many different choices, including drag and drop, which is one of our newest lesson features. And there are many existing drag and drops in the platform, as well as your ability to create your own. But I also wanted to share some resources for you. So the first one is our Camp Engage is coming up next week. If you haven't ever gotten to attend a Nearpod Camp Engage, this is a super fun, totally virtual conference. And if you register, you can sign up for different sessions. And even if you're unable to attend, because this goes next Thursday night over the weekend, you will receive a recording. And if you watch the recording within a week after Camp Engage, you will get a certificate showing your participation. But if you participate in real time, there is opportunity for prizes. There even is the closest thing I can equate it to is kind of a poetry slam for a Nearpod slam. And you can submit a quick flip grid with your lesson or idea and then be live during Camp Engage presenting your idea. So if you're interested, this links to the registration page, but that's an awesome way to share and hear ideas from people all over the country. There are over 70 different sessions spanning next weekend. Several other resources for you. If you're looking for training resources, we offer webinars just to our district clients, and there are 3 more coming up, one on November 30th and 2 in December. They're hour-long sessions of just tips, tricks, and quick ideas with Nearpod. And again, if you can't attend, sign up and get the recording so you have access to that. My secret on those is to sign up, get the recording, and listen to it on double speed, because I know no one has enough time, so that's a way to zip through it. We do also offer webinars weekly, and this links to our website where you can find the schedule. And there are all kinds of different ones, from very beginning to more advanced, to ones with specific focus, like working with Google Classroom or looking at your data, that kind of thing. Many resources in the teacher resources section of your Nearpod library on the left-hand side. There are quick how-to videos, how to do almost anything you can imagine. The Nearpod blog has new content almost daily, so I highly recommend going there, and it is searchable. So if you're looking for, how to work with language learners or how to work with this particular feature, check out the blog. There are usually excellent articles there. We also have a great YouTube channel, so you can find lots of video resources on YouTube. The Nearpod Facebook community is really active, and a great way to get questions answered immediately by Nearpod people and also just regular users out in the world. And you also can become a Nearpod certified educator. This links to the process, but it's a pretty simple: attend some kind of training and then submit a lesson to us that follows our best practice guide, which you'll find on that Nearpod certified educator link. You have to present your lesson to at least 3 students, but then you can become a Nearpod certified educator. And that opens the door to sneak peeks, previews, and often access to things before other people get access to them. And some sneak peeks at things that are coming soon, either in the beginning of 2022 or for back to school 2022, some exciting things. Time to Climb is getting some new enhancements. And one of the things is the ability to slow it down so you can pause a question. It's going to have more themes, the ability to do more control with the sound. And I think this is going to be really exciting to get kids involved even more in our very popular Time to Climb. Also super excited for updates to the Collaborate board. Now, starting in 2022, the Collaborate board will allow you to organize student responses so you can move them around. And students will also have the ability to reply to each other. So I think that's going to be really exciting to create that interactive aspect of the Collaborate board. And then we're improving the post-session reporting so that you'll actually be able to see a summary view of all the activities in your lesson and the scores. There'll be insights into frequently missed answers or frequently missed questions and the most chosen answers, so you can get a sense of misconceptions. And really, it'll bring to the surface students who are struggling the most, the ones who have missed the most in their activities. And then you'll be able to look at across multiple lessons. So right now, when you go in to look at a report, you can only look at it lesson by lesson. But I think these new features to the reports are really going to be beneficial. And then there is our ever-growing content library, more standards-aligned activities in the drag and drop, more videos, and more partner videos than what is there. So we are always working to increase our content, improve our delivery, and we also really value your input. So if you have suggestions, if you just go to feedback.nearpod.com, we love feedback, and our product team reads every single piece of feedback that comes in. And if you can get your friends to come in and upvote the feedback, often that lifts its visibility even further. So it's feedback.nearpod.com. We love to get your feedback. So with that in mind, I have turned on the last activity in this is, what was the most valuable thing you learned today? And do you still have any more questions today? This is just an open-ended question. And again, I'll switch so you can see what it looks like. Let's see. One cool feature about the interactive or the open-ended question is that students also have the ability to record an audio response. So again, for younger students or students who are learning English, or kids with special needs, you can have them record their answer so that you people aren't tied to typing. So I think that's pretty exciting. And good question. Is a learning playlist? Are you referring to the playlists on the JCPS channel? Okay. Yes, and I think there is a Nearpod playlist, right? Or at least Nearpod videos. Okay. Okay, perfect. So there is a Nearpod playlist. And Kathleen is going to send it in the chat, so you'll have that as well. So that is Nearpod in a very short period of time. Kind of in summary, some highlights of the things that we talked about today, things you may not have seen before. I think live to student paced is something that you saw very seamless to turn on and off, and in a great way to give you power in threading your lesson through from start to finish in Nearpod, but giving the ability for students to have differentiated, whether it's practice, small group work, individual work. I think that's an exciting thing. Also, lots of activities in the drag and drop library and in the content library. Don't forget to look at the digital citizenship lessons. I know as students become more and more engaged in digital citizenship in this digital world, that becomes more and more important. So,
yes, very much so. Thank you, Karen. This was a lot of great information, and we will have this recording with the resources that you shared and the information that you shared on our digital learning channel as well. And then I think, yep, it's in the chat, the playlist. So that's something else that everyone can refer to is the Nearpod playlist. And then we'll see you back this afternoon for an elementary session.